Hey, day loves. Hey, loves. Welcome back to the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. This is episode 105, and it's B Day. So, we're going to be getting into some mind mastery vibes, some really useful and helpful tips for the working mama because we gotta overcome autoimmunity, y'all. Like 80% of women are experiencing autoimmune diseases. Or no. It was of all the people that have autoimmune diseases, 80% of them are women. That's wild. That is crazy. So we gotta help somehow, right? Um, as far as this episode, my intention is to have a conversation so that we can help develop that mindset mastery, help to integrate routines that fit in our lives and actually work, and to just really break the generational patterns or start to do that for ourselves and our family. So we're going to talk about inner resistance. We're going to talk about all that stuff. Um, yes. And if you don't know who I am Coach Tensi. Good day, loves. And this is...
I'm Coach Soul. What's up, y'all?
Goodness, babe. You're not gonna say excuse me.
No. It's a pleasure to be here.
That was a big burp.
Our mission today is quite simple. We're gonna go over some of the foundational pieces of the puzzle to mindset mastery, and just kind of as a reminder of how important, the concept of being is. Right? I recently did a presentation, and I was, kind of jokingly saying, I'm a human, but I'm not a human doing. I'm not a human trying. I'm not a human achieving. I'm not a human failing. I'm not a human, right? All of these other verbs. I'm a human being. And so what does it mean to be? And that's why this is a foundational concept that we'll be exploring. And the importance of being is the importance of is the same level as the importance of self-knowledge, right? The importance of coming back to a state of pure being is just as important as, over time, learning yourself inside and out. Because, again, you are a human being. So,
yeah. So since it's B-Day, we're getting into the first element of the Freedom Five, which honestly, it's one of the things that really makes or breaks whether someone has lasting success with any sort of lifestyle change, right? Any sort of change that you're looking to make in your life, you need to have your mindset right, or else we'll just keep kind of succumbing to the inner resistance that will come up. Circumstances will come up in life. You already know. If something happens with the kids, it takes your attention. If something happens with finances, it takes your attention off of your health journey. Whatever it is for you, it can really pose as a big block that prevents action or seems to prevent action, whether it comes through the lens of feeling all this fear or self-doubt or this anxiety or feeling overwhelmed. I hear that a lot of the clients that I've worked with, overwhelm has been a thing that they've struggled with. And this is something that it's important to look at and to explore, because especially as a working mom, there's all this burden on the shoulder of trying to maneuver in society, and any personal insecurities that you might have just become magnified when things are when you're experiencing challenges. And so um, when we notice the making bigger, the magnification of these resistances, the power of self-awareness to really help us to recognize when resistances are coming up, when we're feeling that crunchy, ooh, the little bites like you could attack, or when you're feeling like you're not trying to, but you actually are self-isolating unconsciously. And um, and how to meet up against that. With awareness, we can begin to normalize the discomfort of change.
Right. Right. And so there are a few, habits, few actions, and a few approaches to these actions that are very helpful in not not avoiding overwhelm, not avoiding fear or self-doubt, but overcoming overwhelm, overcoming fear, overcoming doubt and shame and guilt and
Mm. And
sadness,
anger.
anger, frustration, right? Because one thing that anybody that studies child psychology learns is that the only way to overcome or even just have some sort of mature regulation over your negative emotions in adulthood is to feel them as a child and to feel them as a teen and to repeat the cycle of feeling them and getting over it, feeling them and getting over it, so that
Mm.
by the time you're an adult, you're able to feel it and not go with it because logically, as well as just intuitively, you're able to know this is not me. This is
Mm.
not my being. This is a visitor to my being here for a purpose that, right now, I'm not going to allow to like rule over all of my decision making and thinking power. Right now, it's passing through me. I feel it, but I'm going to let it be what it is, which is a visitor, an internal visitor that has no power over me.
Mm.
And so there we go. I gave you the mindset, write it down, get out of here. No, I'm kidding.
This is really powerful stuff that you're sharing, because like how
Well, I didn't name the actions yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. So there's a couple actions that we can take every day that allow for this awareness to blossom fully and to fully mature, or for us to mature with this blossoming of our awareness. So first is the practice of meditation, or you know bringing a state of silence to your day, um, whether that is silent sitting meditation, which is the most popular, where you sit silently and slow down your responses to your thoughts. You can't slow down the thoughts themselves, but you can slow down and dampen and sometimes even stop your responses to thoughts that appear inside.
Mm.
And that's one thing. And the approach to meditation that most highly recommend is called meditation of the heart, where you're not utilizing your information, you're not putting yourself, in imaginary space
Mm.
and utilizing the power of thought to distract yourself from thoughts, but instead, you are just you without you. You are tapping into the heart, meditation of the heart of being. And this requires no preparation time. This requires no skill level achievement. This requires no practice. Um, it is simply tapping in and doing so as many times as you need to over the 5 to 10 minutes that you're going to do silent sitting meditation, and just being as you already are. Pardon me. And allowing the internal visitors, your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations, to come and go on their own, allowing your breath to come in and go out on its own, allowing your heartbeat to speed up or slow down on its own, and you just remain as you are.
Mm.
And then there's another action which I call, like, well, Tensi calls it emotional rehearsal. I'll just say, practicing feeling.
Practicing feeling high frequency things. So practicing feeling good stuff.
Yeah, where you initially, or intentionally, not initially, you intentionally practice elevating your emotional state, um, by association. You think something, you associate that with a particular feeling, and you use that association to be a catalyst for you elevating your state of emotions to that frequency. And you practice that, for a few minutes every day. And these things are very powerful things to do.
Back in 2019, I experienced like one of the lowest points of my life where I, like, everything around me, this was like nothing was working. And um, we had to move out from Austin and we lost our apartment. We had to move back in with my parents, and it was a time where I wasn't the opposite of my typical kind of optimistic self. I was feeling really low. Um, Depression. I was feeling heavy. Um, I was functioning still, like functional depression. I wasn't bedridden every day or anything like that. I would still, wake up and make something to eat and, do my best, try to work on the business. But I was feeling like, okay, nothing's working in my relationship. We weren't connecting well, and finances were tragic. And it was like everything was on the mend, and all of my ducks were out of a row. And one of the things that helped me as my saving grace was the live meditations that I, oh, this was before you were doing the live meditations. Well, following along with the meditation um, gurus, they don't call themselves gurus, but guided meditations that you would refer me to. And sometimes when you would lead a guided meditation, even though it wasn't like the official, we didn't have a name for meditation of the heart back then, I don't think.
No.
But that's basically what it was. And I that stuff was my anchor that helped pull me out from the mud through all the forms of resistance, procrastination, um, if you've ever read the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, he talks about like different forms of resistance that comes up. Like procrastination is one where you just put off to later. Shadow calling is another one where you're doing something that is like the watered down version. No risk is involved, then it's not really what your spirit is calling you to do, but it's something that looks kind of like it. Um, and like I was serving people, but it was through stuff that ain't got nothing to do with my passion, nothing to do with my thrive zone. It was just out of survival, and that's it. And or I was eating stuff that was kind of healthy, but I still knew that there was stuff that I was doing that um, wasn't wasn't quite helping my goals, and so on and so forth. And meditation of the heart, those that just becoming aware of what was coming up and what was going through my mind, and the acknowledgement of, oh my gosh, there's a space between what's coming up and me. Like, I'm the true the truth of me is not really being boxed down or touched or manipulated by these thoughts and these feelings. Okay, that was powerful. That was like a big revelation that helped change things. So I would be triggered, when a trigger response would come up, now you don't have to be trapped in it, because now you see the difference. And then the the other biggest kind of moment for me was when I realized how my life was changing. Literally, stuff around me was falling into place, or starting to fall into place, the more that I would do this thing called the emotional and mental rehearsal, where I would practice feeling gratitude, practice what could being empowered feel like, what could freedom feel like. And yeah, that just changed everything for me. So um when I became a working mom, though, everything shifted again, because now I didn't have all this time to be sitting down and meditating for like an hour every day. And it was hard to even sit still with my daughter Omi, for more than maybe 5 minutes,
Yeah, just with your
maybe.
body recovering.
And my body recovering. I was bedridden for a while, and it was just not feasible. And so, how do we make time for this? How do we make time for stuff like meditation and journaling and all of that, when life is so unpredictable? Every day you got to be really flexible, and we have to find another way.
And it's another way that we teach our clients is called habit stacking.
Mm.
Habit stacking is defined very beautifully by in our notes here as attaching a new habit to an existing routine.
Mm.
Attaching a new habit to an existing routine. So one of the most powerful forms of meditation is called active meditation, where you
Yes.
tap into a state of meditative mind while you're doing something that doesn't require much thought, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, making a breakfast that you're very familiar with,
Chopping veggies, drinking water.
something longer than drinking water, but
Okay.
um, something that takes more time than drinking water. But driving, right? A familiar from driving back home, and you know the route very well. All of these things you can tap into a state of meditation, and that's called habit stacking. So you stack a habit on top of a routine, and when you do that, you open yourself up to detach from the aspect of yourself that is always responding to your thoughts, that is always in when it sort of hears a thought or feels a feeling, it's responding to it
It's like, that's me. That's about me.
automatically, yeah, with the belief that that is me, and not the truth that that is a visitor within my being, and my being um, is only overpowered by it if I choose that.
Mm.
And if I don't choose to be overpowered, that if I don't choose that my being is now overpowered by this thing, then it's not.
Mm.
Um,
I'm like, are y'all getting this? Like, this is so powerful, so juicy. Let us know in the comments if you're tracking with us, if you're following what we're saying, because y'all, this is okay. Go on, babe.
yeah. And then there's another way to have it stack again, And, let's say what you're noticing is I don't have to be so put off or frustrated or something by this thing or whatever, and you're sort of practicing not being so into it, so negatively impacted by it, then when the trigger happens, you can also stack an internal habit where you notice where, first you're already in the routine, you're already establishing a practice of separating yourself from the feeling of the frustration and the anger and whatever. And on top of that habit, you can practice elevating your state with rehearsing a new emotion or different emotion. Um, so
And
and
it,
it's very simple. It's not like you have to do a whole bunch of jumping around and around. And if it doesn't really fit your personality or the way that you learn to use your mind, then don't worry about it. But for a lot of people, it's a very simple thing. You establish the pattern of not identifying with the responder to your thoughts and emotions, the internal one. And on top of that, once that's sort of going already, on top of that, you just elevate uh, by associating the moment with something that brings you joy, and elevate your state of emotion to a higher frequency. And it's just a practice.
can we give an example, like a real life, this is what's happening example for a working mama?
Um, a lot of working moms don't really know how to respond to traffic well. So traffic on the road. So if you're on the road and you're already practicing not responding automatically very negatively to traffic on the road, then when you're in traffic and you feel that feeling, and then you remind yourself that there's a temporary visitor of frustration, but this temporary visitor does not have to have power over me or whatever, and you're just allowing that truth to remain present with you while the frustration feeling is visiting. Then on top of that moment, you also can actively think of something that brings you joy, gratitude, or some sort of elevated state of emotion, and elevate your state of emotion.
Right. I'm also thinking of, like, especially for someone that is at the beginning, it's just so hard to catch sometimes, to catch yourself. And so having a guided meditation, like an active, like one of the ones that you recorded for the active guided meditations or something like that, or some sort of breath work app where you can kind of just reset and have some listen to some guidance to reset can be helpful. I'm also thinking of when you're checking emails. This is really good to because it's a mundane task. Like you already know kind of like how to do it, and it can be more so on autopilot in that way. Um, any task like that when you're making, you know, if you drink coffee, you're making coffee or Capomo, then you can also tap into an active meditation that way. Listening to a little guidance, even if you just have 5 minutes, listening to 5 minutes of it is better than nothing. Um, so stuff like that is what's coming to my mind. Okay, so these mini routines are what we call basically habit stacking. And honestly, throughout a day, you don't need to spend more than an hour in a given day spread out, where you're taking these moments and you're checking in with the Freedom Five, right? So be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. We talk about these five every day of the podcast. We cover one of them at least. And every day, if you take a moment to just check in with, okay, I know that safer be, dealing with mindset, being yourself, your truest expression, right? Um, dealing with spirituality and emotions and all of that. How can you incorporate um, that into your daily life. We already talked about some ways for habit stacking. You can also habit stack it with something like Cleanse, where if you're taking your supplements, maybe you're making tea, maybe you're refilling your water bottles and making sure that you drink your first 8 ounces or whatnot. All these things you can habit stack with very easily with an active meditation, right? Or just taking a moment just to feel and acknowledge what it could feel like to fill yourself up on some gratitude, right? It's powerful. Habit stacking. 5 to 15 minute breaks where we just check in and do one little mini routine. One mini 5 to 15 minute routine where we're stacking maybe 2 elements of the Freedom Five with what you already do, right? Brushing your teeth, stretching, 5 minute stretch, and just really letting that be a movement meditation. So, with that being said, any last words before we go?
I don't know what they're about. Is this okay? Get yourself a copy of my book. It's called Culture Control: Why the Love of Money is Objectively the Root of All Evil, and learn about the influences that push you this way and that way in terms of your responses, what your responses, your automatic responses are. Learn what those influences are. That gives you more of a toolbox to break yourself free. We have an event coming up, and more information will be dropping here on this podcast in various drips. But we have an event coming up in January
January 18th.
January 18th,
Mark
called
your
Thrive Zone,
calendars.
that you all should make. And that's it. That's it for today. Subscribe, follow the page, like the video, share it out to anybody that needs these strategies. Check out the replay, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for Cleanse Day.
We love y'all. And we'll definitely post this live shortly. So let us know in the comments what resonated with you and what is a mini hack, mini habit stack routine that resonates with you from the episode, or maybe something that you already do that you didn't realize that you do. And we'll check in with you soon. Peace, loves. Bye-bye.